Hi guys, welcome back to Your Knowledge Buddy. I'm very happy to make this video because this is about Global Talent Visa, another success story. So today's agenda is to learn everything from Shubhangi's journey, how she got Global Talent Visa, Route 4, what are the eligibility requirements, who can apply, cost, and timelines. So if you're interested to explore Global Talent Visa and wants to settle in the UK, make sure you watch the video till the end. So without any further delay, let's get started with today's video by introducing you guys to Shubhangi. Hi Shubhangi, welcome to Your Knowledge Buddy. And if you don't mind, can you please introduce yourself to my audience, please?
Yeah. Hi, Sagrika. So I'm Shoobhangi. I'm currently working as a climate consultant. I work towards climate and sustainability. And prior to this, I was working as a postdoc in University of Manchester. And I have around 10 years of research experience, basically around climate impact assessment, adaptation strategies. And I moved to UK in 2024 and I came here on a skilled worker visa and then switched to global talent and I'm currently on that.
Okay, so you
Yeah.
got your skill visa directly from India.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Can I just say you double congratulations? Because people are struggling to find one skill job, and now you're saying you got a skill job, skilled worker visa directly from India, and then you also switched to global talent visa. Oh my God. I can't even believe I'm
Thank
talking
you.
to such talented lady.
Uh,
Uh, uh,
Thanks a lot.
so, Shubhangi, I would like to understand more about your role, your journey. How did you approach things so that it can help my audience? And if you don't mind, maybe I'll ask you more questions around it.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So
So,
when you were in India, I want to know,
mhm.
so what did you do? Like you knew already the market is tough, immigration is changing. So what was your approach? Did you start applying for the job through the portal, through agency? What did you do?
Yeah, so I'll give a brief of my journey. So basically, I did my PhD from IIT Delhi, and then I was applying for a lot of those research fellowships. So during my PhD also, so I was in United States for 1.5 year. I did an internship with Japan, and so when I came back from the States, I was about to finish my PhD. I was suggested by one of my collaborator that now I should explore the UK research field and how do they work there. So that's when I started applying for, like, let's say, positions. So immediately after PhD, so I submitted my thesis and then I was looking for job. And so I got this open position, which was in University of Manchester, and I applied there and got it. Came here in 2, 3 months of my application. So during that time also, I was offered, like, the university, like it was mentioned in your previous interview on Global Talent, that universities at time do offer you, like, you're eligible for a skilled worker or global talent. So they said you can apply for it, but during that time, I didn't finish my PhD. Like, I didn't have the degree. I had just submitted my thesis. So I could, like, I was skeptical if that would probably not put a very strong case for me. And then this, and also at that, some universities, they don't sponsor your global talent. Like, they don't pay you the amount, but they do pay for skilled workers. So at that time, I thought skilled worker is a better option for me. And I joined here on that. Then within a year, like, once my because my project was fixed term, so it was a 2 year project, and I had to look for opportunities. Also, I always wanted to explore the industry side as well, because I wanted to see what how you can basically being in academia for a while. I wanted to explore that side as well. And then, like you have mentioned, it was very difficult to get skilled worker visa for these jobs, especially when these rules are changing. So that's when I thought, okay, now I should apply for global talent. But even though my project was UKRI funded, because they had a lot of restrictions on that, in a way, the project should be at least 1 year. You should earn like certain amount, and those sort of restrictions were there. And since my project was at that time, it was less than 1 year, which was remaining on my project. And so then I decided, okay, what could be the next option? And then my husband, he works for UKRI, so he also helped me in, like, talking to people in UKRI that can I apply through that route, but they were like, because your project is ending, it might not be feasible. So that's when I looked for this peer-reviewed one. Now, I'll be very honest, there are very few people which I came across who are on this visa. Most of the people who are in research are on that route 3 because that is more straightforward, and like it's list your university have help you with getting the letter and then you can just directly submit it. With this one, it is, I would say it's good and bad. Like it's bad in the sense you have to hustle, you have to prepare all the evidences, but it's good in a way that it depends totally on you. Don't even have to have a job for that, for applying for this position, like for this visa. And then also, you're not tied to any particular project. Like even if it's not UKRI funded, you can apply for it. So yeah, then I started gathering information, and then I applied in the science category, and I realized there's very little information online for research field for peer reviewed, because there are a lot of forums for those global technician, because a lot of digital technology people apply there, but there were very few people who had applied in research through this route. So yeah, that's how I got to know, and I started gathering evidences. And yeah, then it took me, I think, 4 5 months of preparation, and that's when I then applied.
4 5 months of preparation. Oh my God. Okay. Um, I just wanted to remind to my audience what Shumangi is talking about is the fourth route in global talent visa. So there are different routes in global talent visa. In my last 2 3 videos, in the videos which I've covered in the last 3 months, I talked about success stories of people who got through route three where a job offer is needed. However, Shubhangi got through route four, right, Shubhangi? And we are talking
Yeah.
more about it where you say job offer is not mandatory. However, for route three, job offer is a mandatory. And the minimum funding needs to be £30,000 and it needs to be UKRI funded. And the project should be 2 years. And there are 50% of your time should you spend on that project. That was all about the route three. So, what we are learning today is all about route four requirements, eligibility, and how Shubhangi got through. Okay. So if anybody have to start today looking for route four, what is the first thing they should be doing, Shubangi?
I mean, firstly, they should go through the website. I think it's quite informative, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Then, so basically, you have to identify, like, let's say I am from science background, and then peer review is different for us. Somebody who is in art and culture or digital technology, they have different sort of evidences. The base is the same, that basically you have to show either you are an exceptional promise or an exceptional talent, like exceptional leader or a promising leader.
Yeah.
So basically, yeah. So firstly, you have to identify which, because it's more like you have to get an endorsement from one of the recognized society of the UK. So you have to identify which specific society you can apply for. Then what exactly, like they have their own dedicated pages. Then you can look into that. That what sort of evidences they ask for. So I would say that would be the first step. Then second would be to start gathering then those evidences, because it's like at times a couple of my colleagues also have gone through this process, and at times there are certain areas where you think you might, this is not putting a strong case, and then probably in 1 or 2 months of preparation, let's say, you can get certain certification, you can get some sort of internship in that field because you have to show basically that you are an expert in a particular field.
Correct.
At times, if you are a researcher, they look for your citations. They might also look for what sort of research fundings you bring in. So those sort of like to just to check where exactly you stand, and are you currently like there where you feel you can apply, or do you think you need a little bit of more time? So I think, yeah, that is second thing. Third thing would be networking,
Mm.
because once I start applying, I didn't know how to fill the forms. I didn't know what information should go there. So then I started reaching out first to few of my colleagues, which I knew are also looking into that. Then I started looking. I just went through LinkedIn, and whomsoever I couldn't find, I just reached out to them. Some of them said they didn't get it through this route, but I did get like 1 or 2 people who got it through this route. So they really help me by like making me understand the process, how much time it takes, and all those things.
Okay.
So that is third. And
Mhm.
I would say, yeah, lastly, the fourth and most important thing is you have to find someone, an expert in your field, who is gonna recommend you, because that's the most important thing. So until unless you don't have any recommendation from an expert from in your field, you won't be able to apply for it.
Wow. So, what if somebody is not able to find someone to refer to them for as a recommendation? So, like say you moved to the UK, so you needed a recommendation from UK, or it could be from India, it could be from US or anywhere else.
I mean, as far as I remember, it writes like an expert in your field who's well known, but mostly what I've seen in the past, like people like reach out to people who are already in UK because it's easier to
Okay.
get their recommendation.
So you were able to
So if
find someone.
somebody, yeah, because I was already working in the university, so I got it from my line manager who's already an expert in the field. But I would say if someone is, let's say, applying from India, it would be good to reach out to someone. Especially, I can talk about research in general. In research, even if you are in India, you can like have a discussion with them or start working with them even in whatever whichever capacity you can, or start building those networks, because at times like you have to build that sort of rapport with someone who can recommend you.
Mm.
That is very important. Mostly, yeah, in research it's kind of like you already, if you're applying for this sort of role, you plan to come to UK to do research, so you anyway are looking to work with someone. So it's kind of like knowing someone, because I think that's very important, that letter of recommendation and how well they know you, because that's because they will be writing about you, that this is what you have done, why they think that you're a potential leader, because I got it as an exceptional like promise. So you are a potential leader, what sort of plans you have for the future, why this visa is important for you, how you can contribute to the UK's economy, and why they are suitable candidate, like suitable prospect for referring you. So these sort of questions they have to answer in their letter.
Okay.
So that is important.
Oh. Why is it called peer review?
Yeah, because it's reviewed by someone randomly who is an expert in your field. So
Mhm.
basically, you submit all your documents. So I can talk about the documents. It would be you have to submit a 3 page, at least like 3 page of CV, which should include everything, your memberships, your papers, and your projects. Like that's for research. If someone is working in, say, let's say, in industry sector, then they have to write about their projects and all those things.
Okay.
Then you have to get that letter of recommendation and CV of the person who will recommend you.
Okay.
And thirdly, like fourth point would be there would be a personal statement. There's something which nobody talks about because it's not mentioned anywhere. But while you start filling the form, it would be 1,000 words sort of essay where you will be writing about yourself, and that's also a very important piece of evidence, because yeah, you have to back it with everything possible. Like there are times where we have done a small project which we don't think is that valuable, but you have to kind of work around that and make me like at, after writing it, like while writing it, you realize that okay, that's an important contribution that you can make in the UK. So that is there. Once all of it this is done, you submit it to the Home Office. Then Home Office sends it to Royal Society. Let's say for my case, it was Royal Society of like for the Science, and then there they will send it to some person who is already an expert,
Mm-hmm.
maybe somebody who's already gotten it, or maybe on a higher position in, let's say, research area, and then you don't know who reviews your application. So then if that person feels okay, you have a strong evidence which proves that you can be an exceptional promise, or if you already are an exceptional leader, then they approves it, and then you get an email from Home Office that you have got the endorsement and you can apply for the visa.
Okay. Am I right in understanding? So this is called Route 4, like you mentioned. And in Route
Mhm.
4, you said there is no job offer needed. Like you mentioned, it's all about the evidence you produce along with the recommendation from one of the experts in your industry. And
Mhm.
what was your industry? Were you part of academic research? Under research, you fall under research.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, under research, then in research also they have highlighted certain disciplines that has a lot of diversity in it. Like it would be architecture, science, engineering. I think art and culture have their own set of disciplines. So
Okay.
you have to identify which disciplines you fall in. And then, of course, it depends on different routes in that. Let's say for research, you have to have a PhD.
Okay.
But then in there are different like or an equivalent. So at times what I think, I haven't applied through IT, but I think it would be more like they have different set of evidences where they kind of show that they have developed something, those sort of like they were involved in some software development and all those sort of evidence, and like they have different set of requirements. I think they have to give 10 proofs of their achievement. So it's different for different people. For PhD, it's more about publication, citations, and you have a PhD degree. So yeah, it varies, but overall the concept is the same, that it would go to someone else with all these recommendations and all these proofs, and then they would like see if you have a solid base and if they can approve it.
Okay. Thank you so much. I'm learning so much from you already, Shvangi. So, from your application, why do you think you stood out, or why do you think your application was accepted? What evidence did you produce? Anything can you talk about it?
I got lucky. No,
No, you're not
just
lucky.
kidding.
I'm
No,
seeing
just
your
kidding.
journey. So much of hard
So,
work. You are such a sponge. Oh my God. Yeah. So,
so yeah, to break it down, I think uh, in my field, so I was reading also like what sort of proof they check. So there are certain things that they check. One is that you should be an expert, which you can show through your projects. Then what would have like I think what and I no, I don't even think, I believe what stood out probably is because as I had mentioned that I've done little like different research projects in US and with Japan as well. So I could put that strong case for me that globally I am known because I've worked with certain set of people and they were well renowned. And so that was one of the cases. Then thirdly, it depends on which area you're working on, because so that I would say is very important. When putting your case, you have to do some research. Like I did research. So basically, since I work on food security, I did some research like what are the economic losses that UK face
mm,
because of food security. And then I put that as a case that this is where economically UK loses money and my research helps in reducing those losses, and then that this is my plan for future which would further help them in maintaining their food security under climate change. So you basically have to show that you have some good plans for the UK, and then the person recommending you should back it up.
okay.
So yeah.
Well done, you. You have done enough research. You are a researcher. That's why. I have a silly question to ask. Say someone who don't have a PhD degree, someone say maybe bachelor's or master's, but with good years of experience, and if they apply, do you think they still have a chance, or you need to have a PhD?
I mean, if they're applying through research route, then they do need a PhD. Probably if they're applying through the digital technology field, if they are in that, then they don't. But if someone is applying specifically for a research position, then they need to have PhD.
They do prefer than candidates who got a PhD at the moment. Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
they have this regulation, like I think it's one of the points that you have, because when I submitted my documents, I was specifically told that I have to submit my PhD degree with it.
Ah,
So
okay. It
I
was
think
mentioned to
that
you.
is there.
Hmm.
But I think with other programs and also probably like with like other sectors, like let's say IT and art and culture, they might have something different. Because otherwise, there are three other routes, right? Because let's say if you are in research and you have a job, then you can go through route one. If you have a fellowship, then you can go through route two. If you have a job through UKRI funded project,
Top
then
three.
you can go with route three. But if you have to apply for peer review in research, then you'll have to have a PhD degree.
Okay, great. So in terms of documents that you mentioned, I remember you said recommendation letter from an expert in
Mhm.
your field. You mentioned about the PhD degree. You talked about your personal statement, like a CV thing or a personal statement which you need to submit. What else did you submit for your application?
I mean, just these, probably the CV of someone who recommended me, if that is not
Oh,
covered.
CV of people who recommend
Yeah.
you. Okay.
But in the form itself, there would be a lot of sections. Like, for instance, I was awarded one of the outstanding presentation award in one of the European Union conferences. So those sort of awards you can mention. If you have won some research funding, you can mention the amount and how you got it. Then yeah, different patents. So in the form itself there would be
A lot
sections.
of.
Of course, usually they don't ask evidences for that until unless if they feel like they should ask, they do. Mostly since it's all online, so they are able to anyway track it if they want to. So I don't think any more proof is required. At times, if your degree is like just within 1 year of your application, then they do ask for your degree certificate
Okay.
with it.
So once you submitted all the documents, how long did it take for the peer review to happen? And by the time you got your visa, what was the timelines like?
Uh, so this is not fast track one, unlike the other three routes, which takes like 2 weeks. This would take 8 weeks. Mine came in like 6 weeks.
Hmm.
So one has to wait
That's
for
fine.
quite some time, but
Yeah.
it's okay.
Yeah, not bad. 6 weeks is not bad,
Yeah.
actually. Yeah.
But once you get the endorsement, then it's kind of like straightforward, like any other visa. You have to book an appointment, then you submit, and you don't have to submit much for the visa. Then I think I just submitted my endorsement.
Letter. Yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Okay. And in terms of cost, so when you submit your application, like your documents and all, do you have to pay that time as well?
yes. So yeah, this is one thing. Even if you don't get the endorsement, I think it's 561 GBP. Yeah, for the endorsement itself, and then remaining 200 something for the visa. But if you apply for it, then yeah, one has to take that risk. And then also, sometimes people can apply for both of those together. Like you can directly apply for phase one and phase two together. But I would say apply for the phase one first because at times you're not sure, and also it takes longer at times. So
What is
it's
phase
better to get
one?
the endorsement.
Sorry,
So
what's
phase one
phase
is
one
getting the
actually?
endorsement. Yeah. So in Global Talent, there are two phases. So they keep it in phases. So first one is to get an endorsement, and then you apply for the phase two, which is like actually getting the visa.
Oh.
So you can apply for both of them together also, like in the application, and then you'll pay the entire fee straight away. And a lot of people do it when they quickly need the decision. At times they do it,
But what if
but
they don't get
it's
the
tricky.
endorsement letter? How can they apply for the visa?
Yeah,
How
I
does it
don't know.
work? I don't know.
I mean, in the past, it's usually when they are very sure that they're gonna get it.
Maybe. Okay. I thought it's mandatory for that endorsement letter to be submitted to apply for the visa. So
Yeah, I
my
true.
understanding was till the time they don't get that letter, they cannot apply for the visa as such. I thought.
Yeah, they cannot, but it's just you in the form itself, you can fill both of them together. Then you don't have to go
Hmm.
through the process too, but that's more like, but you'll end up paying extra, which, yeah, even I never got it, but I've heard few people doing that.
Okay. So you had paid around £500, and then when you got that endorsement letter, you have still paid more money, right, for the visa?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you need to pay from your pocket. It's not funded by any organization as such.
Uh, so like in my case, I was between jobs. So, and I've since I was between jobs, I had to pay myself. But at times, let's say if you get another job and if they're willing to sponsor you, good thing with then they can pay. Good thing with Global Talent is like, let's say for my stream, I
Mm.
would say they do in Global Talent, your skill worker time is anyway counted. And in science, even if you're in an exceptional promise, you get your currently as of now, you get your ILR in 3 years.
Yeah.
So, which is so it's like you don't have to pay, like the company don't have to pay as much as they have to pay if you're on a skilled worker, let's say skilled worker visa. So I have a couple of colleagues who were switching jobs and then their company agreed to pay for their visa because they knew that they don't have to pay for a very long time.
Yeah.
But if someone doesn't have a job, then they have to. But important thing is, of course, you have to show like I would say they do check like how much amount you have made and those sort of things. Obviously, at one point, someone has to like show that they're still contributing in the field. But yeah, there is no hard and fast rule like any other route where you have to get a job first to get
Yeah.
the visa.
Yeah, and dependents are allowed with this, so you can bring your
Yeah.
dependent. Now, in terms of your ILR, so they are two categories. One is for 3 years, one for 5 years, right? One is
Mhm.
leader and one is called potential leader. For the leaders, it's 3 years, and for potential leader, it's 5 years, right?
So yeah, that's what I was saying. In my case, even for the potential leader, it's 3 years. So like for science
Oh,
streams, for
even.
both of them, it's the same. If you
Okay.
are from art and culture or probably digital technology, it's there's a
Different.
difference.
Yes, correct. The last question from me is, did you have to submit any English language test evidence as well?
No. So as far as I know, you don't need to have any English language test for this. It's not mandatory.
Okay.
Like they don't even ask for that. Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay. So that's all I wanted to ask you. Anything that you want to say to my audience who are struggling to get either a global talent visa or a skill visa and who wants to settle down in the UK, what will you advise them and how they can learn anything from your journey?
I would say research. Yeah, I like honestly, I would say do research, and at times, even like think of it as even a small opportunity can help you in getting where you exactly want to. Let's say even if you're doing your masters, maybe do a small project with a professor or let's say someone you think can recommend you. I think that would go a long way. Like networking can help you at times because a lot of my friends even in the IT sector they didn't know about this visa, and once I got it then they started looking into the options like where can they can apply, and then don't think of it that you have to apply overnight. Start gathering those evidences because yeah, you'll see in one or couple of months you are there and then you can apply. And third thing is like believe that you can do it because a lot of my friends they were thinking that peer reviewed is, let's say, it's very difficult, it's just for, let's say, top scientists and those sort of things, and they look for very high citations and those things. But I would say if you have like a holistic profile, like you don't have to be like, okay, you have a lot of papers or you have a lot of projects, but holistically if you feel that you have contributed to UK, I think it would go a long way and you can be successful.
Okay, amazing. Thank you very much for sharing that. And I hope this is useful for my audience. If you guys are watching this video, if you require any more assistance, if you want me to cover more success stories or anyone who had already got a global talent visa or skill visa, make sure you leave it in the comment section. Thanks, Shubhangi. Thank you for coming and sharing your knowledge. And I wish you all the best.
Thank you, Sakika. Same here, and I hope it helps people who are applying.
Yes, indeed. Thank you.